I can't believe it has already been 6 months since a live-action My Little Pony movie was announced to be in development at Amazon and MGM Studios. And though we are probably not going to be getting any news about this film until it enters pre-production, that still gives us a lot of room to have some fun speculating on what this film might look like. I already gave my general thoughts in a separate video, please check that out if you haven't already, but today I want to talk about a very specific direction this film might take. You see, when adapting My Little Pony into real life, there is 2 directions you can generally go in. One is CGI ponies interacting with human beings in a real life setting, or the pony characters become human. It's very clear that the latter is very cost effective and proved to be popular within the brand itself thanks to the Equestria Girls films, which has gotten me to wonder if this is the direction the live action My Little Pony film is going to be taking, who exactly would they cast? Now when approaching this challenge, there is one major hurdle we have to get through first, and that is who is even going to be in this movie. We don't know for sure what characters are going to be here in this film or even in the next generation, but what we can do is infer on 3 characters who have a decently high potential of being in this movie: Twilight Sparkle, Rainbow Dash, and Pinkie Pie. These 3 characters are the brand, and it doesn't matter what the next generation is going to look like, they're obviously still going to be there. They're in addition going to probably be built around their Generation 4 personalities, because that is the most popular versions of these characters. The only other criteria I have for casting is the fact that I'm not going to be following any particular race headcanons that I have in my mind. These are very vague, loose concepts, and it'll be a lot easier for me if I just didn't have these preconceived biases in my head. I'm also going to be casting actresses between the ages of 20 to 29. I anticipate them to be around a similar age range as the main 6 in Generation 4, but if I'm wrong, you can come back and call me a big dumb stupid idiot if they end up being senior citizens or literal babies. So let's not divulge any more time and get started on our first character. Pinkie Pie was surprisingly the hardest character to cast out of all 3 of them. How do you possibly find an actress that is able to perfectly match the energy that Pinkie brought into Generation 4? However, in a more realistic setting, it's likely that Pinkie Pie's personality would have to be toned down just a few notches, just to let her and the other characters feel more grounded in reality. That's just kind of the sacrifice you have to make in films like these. With that being said, I found that the best choice for Pinkie Pie is none other than Iman Vellani. Recently getting her big break thanks to her leading role in the Miss Marvel series, Iman is just a joy of an actress. Bubbly and excitable, she's not afraid to embrace some silliness that a role might demand from her, and she is always able to bring liveliness in any scene she's in. Her range also allows her to represent a part of Pinkie Pie's personality that is very rarely talked about, and that is the significance of what it means when she is sad. And I don't mean like comedically sad, I mean genuinely thoroughly hurt, because anytime that happens in the show or in the movie, I feel genuinely sad. And the same thing goes with Iman's performance as Kamala Khan. She has all this joy and whimsy in her heart that seeing it be ripped away is tragic. And that gives me more than enough confidence to say that Iman Vellani is our Pinkie Pie. Also, if I mispronounce her name at any point, I am really sorry. I've been slurring my speech because I'm kind of sick.
So on Rainbow.
Alright, up next is Rainbow Dash, and this one is kind of what influenced me to try to make this entire video, because I knew exactly who I wanted. And Mares and Gentle Cold, may I introduce you to Maya Hawke. You may know her as Robin from Stranger Things, but I was particularly inspired by her breakout role as Jo March in the BBC Little Women series. Usually taking the role of an outsider or a non-traditionalist amongst the rest of the cast, she is able to easily play bold, brash, competitive, or quick-witted. I don't really know how sporty of an actress she is, but given the action focus of Stranger Things Season 5, and apparently the more physically demanding role she had to take in Lady World, I'm able to generally believe that she'd have no problem adapting to a character like Rainbow Dash. She also very much sounds like Rainbow Dash.
Steve hears that all the time and he goes in anyway, don't you, Steve?
What the hell's wrong with you?
This wasn't a deciding factor, but it is a cool bonus that she really does kind of sound like Ashley Ball. So who better else to take this role? Maya Hawke is our Rainbow Dash.
Twilight. This magic is too powerful. This is going to backfire. You're becoming real.
And of course, we have Twilight Sparkle, a character who is difficult to cast on the exact opposite reason for somebody like Pinkie Pie. And that's because Twilight is a surprisingly layered character. She's very smart, but sometimes isn't wise enough to properly value the significance of friendship. She's also very neurotic and prone to breaking down when her ideas don't go as planned. But even the worst of times, she doesn't really give up. She's a persistent fighter, and even if it's to her own detriment, she would want to get a problem solved. I went through a lot of actresses to find just the right choice for Twilight. Jenna Ortega, Emma Myers, both pretty decent picks, but not exactly what I was looking for. And that's when I landed on the ideal actress for this role, Sophie Thatcher. What I love the most about her is how she can go from completely calm and composed to absolutely batshit insane. That very awkward scene in Companion where she had to talk to the officer in German is something that feels so uniquely Twilight in a way that it's hard for me to wrap my head around. Just coming up with a plan and going for it, even if they're not particularly confident in it. And Jesus Christ, that smile, if that is not a Twilighty expression, I don't know what is. She also knows how to play smart extremely well. It's very easy for a script to lazily say a character is smart because the plot demands them to be smart. But in Heretic, she's able to really sell her intelligence. She's able to successfully challenge something that seems to definitively go so far against her beliefs. And I know a part of its strength is the script writing, which is something Sophie Thatcher didn't do, but I think a worse actor wouldn't have been able to sell the character's perspective to an audience as well as Sophie Thatcher was able to. They may have accidentally sounded bumbling or scrounging around for answers, but for her, she sounds so dead set in her beliefs in an almost stubborn Twilight-esque way, even if she is completely right or doesn't know for sure if she's right or wrong. Now, if I do have one hang-up on casting her, it's the fact that she is not very dorky in the roles that I've seen her play. Obviously, that really depends on what character she is currently playing as, and she just hasn't been casted in a dorky role, at least in my research. But casting isn't about looking at an actor and seeing what characters they could do a second time. It's about looking at their all-around range and figuring out what potential they have from there. And I think it is well within her range that she'd be able to successfully capture Twilight Sparkle's dorkier personality. So with that being said, I am more than happy to say that Sophie Thatcher is my ideal Twilight Sparkle. Well hey, this was a really interesting experiment, and I had a lot of fun making this video. It makes me wonder what other characters I could have casted, but I want to leave that thought up to you guys. Please leave your own fan cast in the comments below, and it doesn't even have to be these three characters, it can be anybody from the My Little Pony cast. This is genuinely one of my favorite topics to talk about, and I've been waiting for an excuse to do a fan cast video for a while. And who knows, maybe if this video does well enough and we still don't have any news about the upcoming My Little Pony live action movie, I'll do a part 2 where I discuss even more potential fan casts. Also, before I go, I would just like to apologize about not uploading any of the remastered videos like I promised from the beginning of the year. I have been ungodly busy with grad school, and I hope to eventually get around to them. Anyway, that is all the time I have for today. Thank you guys so much for watching. I've been May, and I will see you next time.